Good morning, and thank you for joining me for daily Bible studies. This morning we are in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 2, and this word just really inspired me this morning. And we see this character, Nehemiah, and he has this conviction about the city of Jerusalem that has been destroyed, and the wall has been destroyed, and he just has this conviction and this hurt because of the state that Jerusalem is in. And what we see is that the king notices Nehemiah's countenance and asks him, what is wrong? And Nehemiah basically explains this land is destroyed. And he's hurt about that. So I just want to start the story there and kind of go on. So we're going to start in chapter 2. And this is Nehemiah speaking. He said, "Therefore the king said to me, why is your face sad since you are not sick? This is nothing but sorrow of heart. So I became dreadfully afraid and said to the king, may the king live forever. Why should my face not be sad when this city, the place of my father's tombs, lies waste and its gates are burned with fire? Then the king said to me, what do you request? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said to the king, if it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, I ask that you send me to Judah, to the city of my father's tombs, that I may rebuild it." And what I love about this passage is that we see that Nehemiah had already observed the problem, right? He had already observed that the state that Jerusalem was in was not okay, that it should not be in the state that it's in right now. And because of that, Nehemiah was sad and he was disheartened and he knew that it wasn't right. But what I love about this passage is that before he proposes a solution, we see that Nehemiah consults God. So again, we go to verse 4 and he says, the king said to me, what do you request? So I prayed to the God of heaven. I feel like sometimes we miss that part. We know what's wrong. We know that there's a problem. We know something needs to be fixed, right? But instead of consulting God about what should be done, how should it be done, when should it be done, should I do it, we go ahead with our own plans. And as Christians, that is not how God directs us. Right? We're not supposed to order our own steps. The ways of a righteous man, right, are ordered by the Lord. But are we giving God an opportunity to inspire us, to give us the solution, to give us the know-how, to give us the resources? And what I love about this passage is that quickly afterwards, we see Nehemiah consult God. Then Nehemiah is able to speak to the king and request of the king all of the resources that he will need. He asks the king to write him letters so that as he passes through the different regions and the different territories, that he actually has the permission from the king to pass through. So they must let him through. And I'm just going to read that scripture really quickly because I like it. Let's see. Yeah, right here, verse 7. Furthermore, I said to the king, if it pleases the king, let letters be given to me for the governors of the region beyond the river, that they must permit me to pass through till I come to Judah. And a letter to Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he must give me timber to make beams for the gates. And so I want you to go into the scripture because it is amazing not only how Nehemiah received the inspiration of what to do, not only that he waited until he consulted God to even speak of this idea or this solution for a problem that he knew needed to be solved in his heart. But then we see that because I believe that Nehemiah followed that particular protocol, that God was able to bless him and equip him and resource him with exactly what he would need to get the job done. Now, I feel like I'm going to be in this passage for a little bit more time, and I encourage you to do so as well, and to see how God surrounds Nehemiah, how he equips him, how he protects him, and how Nehemiah's attitude is as he goes through this type of journey. I believe God has things for many of us to do, but are we consulting him in the process? I hope this word has inspired you in the way that it has inspired me. You have a blessed day.